Great to see you both again.
And you.
Fantastic work.
Super fun.
Thank you.
How much fun was this to do?
Fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Fun. Super fun.
Yeah.
But what an ensemble. Like the first day that you all got together, you're looking around the room.
Oh, it could have gone terribly wrong.
Actually, that's true. It could have gone terribly wrong.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's you
don't know.
You cram that amount of ego into one room.
No, but that's what I'm saying, exactly.
And it can be disastrous, but it wasn't. It was, and down to this lovely lady here, because she led from the front and pointed us all in the right direction. Because she's,
she leads from the front.
She does.
By the way, that'd be a good title for my autobiography.
Oh yeah, leads from the front.
I'm not going to write one, but leading from the front.
Yeah.
I love that. And
the other was top heavy.
The dance that you did was perfect for that too. By the way, the whole.
What dance?
You did it.
Oh, you mean here now?
Just now.
Not in the movie.
No.
Okay, we're
I'm
talking about the
right
movie.
now.
I'm sorry.
How did Ryan sell this to you? How did he describe it?
He didn't have to.
Really?
No, he just. I mean, I got the script and I was sold. I mean, it was easy. It was an easy decision to make. I've known him for a long time. I've known him socially, and I've known him, ton of his work, and I've known, I'm a fan of his, and he's a lovely guy anyway. So it's like, well, I'll come and make a movie with you because you're just lovely. But actually, being presented this, I was out the door.
All right, I'm from Texas, and I love the accent. I don't even know if it's a Texas accent.
No.
It kind of sounds
it's
Kentucky.
It's Mississippi.
No, Mississippi.
It is. I lived in Jackson for a little bit as well. How long did it take for you to get that down, and when did you know you had it?
Well, you don't when you get to set because you've been working on it for months and months and trying to get it right, and you've got it right in your head, and you've learnt the lines, and you think that, and then you have to sort of stand in front of these amazing stars and try and convince them that it's okay, and they didn't laugh too much, so that's good, or snicker. Yeah. He's going to do it like that,
right?
Which could have happened. I mean, but it was. I used it. A reference was a historian called Shelby Foote, who's has beautiful molasses-rich voice that he's, and I just keyed into him and just went, that's it. And it's in the language. It was in the language that Ryan wrote, and he's a sort of poetic kind of creature. So I felt like he's sort of like one of those grand old orators that sort of likes the sound of his own voice a little bit.
Love that.
Yeah.
I wrote this question with you in mind. You're the only person I'm asking today, just based on our conversations in the past. This is coming out Thanksgiving. Families are going to go see this. What is your advice for families to get through Thanksgiving dinner?
This movie.
Well, this movie will help because there is plenty of red and blue meat to eat. It's not light meat and dark meat. It's red meat and blue meat, and you can throw it at each other, and yet you'll still end up a family at the end of the meal.
And having a good time.
And you will laugh a lot, and you will not figure it out. And the great news is, over dessert after watching this movie, you're going to go, I didn't figure that out. How did I miss that? I did not get it. No one I have met figured it out. I've seen this with lots and lots of people. We've talked to a lot of people now about the movie. Not one person said, oh, I had figured it out because blank, 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 blank. They just haven't, because it's so intricate and so interesting.
Let me just start off by saying it is just a total thrill and an honor to sit across from you today, sir.
That is so nice of you to say. Thank you very much.
You are, I just love your work, and when I saw that I was going to get the opportunity to talk to you today, I got super excited, so great to meet you, man.
I feel the same. Thank you so
sir.
much.
This movie is so twisted. And people that saw it in Toronto before I saw it, I'm kind of a smart ass.
Yeah.
and I've got that twisted kind of dry humor.
Right.
They were like, Dave, you're going to love this movie. They were right. So I'm curious, how did Rian Johnson, your director, and who also wrote this, how did he sell this to you?
He didn't have to sell it. They sent me the script, and I read it, and I didn't even know who was in it at the time. I think I heard that Daniel was considering it or something like that, and I read the script, and I said, okay. This is a real movie. This is different. It's funny. It's different from it's a whodunit, but it's a completely contemporized and different whodunit that you have a blast with all this dark humor and everything. And I defy you to be able to predict who the killer is. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
I watched it for the fourth time the other night. I forgot.
Well, yeah, but it's like for me. Did you ever play the game Clue? Of course you did.
Yeah, sure.
The Colonel Mustard and all
Yeah.
those characters.
Yeah.
This is like a giant game of Clue
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
With a
But all these people are hilarious because they're just flawed, funny people that all have the same, sort of affliction, greed.
How much fun was it to go to work every day and work with this ensemble?
Honestly, you hear this a lot from actors, but this was truly one of those unique experiences that it took me back to the early days of my career of doing summer stock, because in summer stock you don't have anywhere to go but the stage or the green room, and so we fashioned a green room in the basement of this house, and the entire cast. And it's a room no bigger than this. So you can imagine all of us down there, and we're sitting there and just telling stories about our careers and love affairs and things. I learned things about myself. I couldn't believe it.
So my final question to you today, sir, is what is it about showbiz that you absolutely just love so much? Why do you love to act?
Well, I'm not qualified for anything else. So that's a strong.
That's kind of why I got into this.
That's
radio and then now this. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I said, what else would I do?
Yeah, what else is there to do? I'm not really qualified for anything else, and I just happen to love it. I always have from the time I was a kid, and I didn't know how I was going to do the thing, but I knew that that's what I was going to do.
How did you keep it together? This movie is hilarious.
Yeah.
As I'm watching, I'm like, how did they film? Not just laugh out loud, and just how did you keep it together?
I mean, I think as much fun as we had offset, this was a very, I've been on movies where, the amount of fun you have offset sometimes trickles on set in a disruptive way. This group of people is very seasoned, very experienced, so as much fun as we would have offset, when they yelled action, everyone was dialed in, everyone was prepared, and I think we took the best parts of having a real life friendship and utilized them on set without becoming too childish.
Well, because there's a couple of scenes, particularly with your characters, and no spoilers today, that I'm just going, dude, this is so crazy. People told me that they had seen this before in Toronto. I have a really dry sense of humor and kind of a smart ass. And so they're like, dude, you're going to love this movie. And they were right. So when you're going through this, like, what's going through your head?
Which
Just any
part?
well, I don't want to ruin any scenes, but as you're filming this, and your character in particular, what are you thinking? What's going through your mind?
Oh my
Are you
gosh,
thinking
I
how crazy this is?
just enjoyed every second of it. I had so many things to play with. It was such a beautiful, rounded, pretty, complete character. Like I had so many. It was like the whole palette. I felt like Indiana Jones, like car chase and climbing places, and then like very serious and dramatic and intense situations. And so it was a true joy to play with. And then these people around me, it was awesome.
And that's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
You phrased it much better than I could even thought it through. What's wrong with this family?
What's wrong?
Yeah,
with
I
them?
mean,
Yeah, well, a lot of privilege, a lot of victims mentality, a lot of people who have lost touch with reality. They've kind of lost perspective, and when you're that soaked in entitlement your whole life, it's easy, I think, to lose touch with what's real, and the wrong priorities start to take over. Money matters more than anything else. Power matters more than anything else. And it's just the result of decades of entitlement. And you really see that type of detachment come to fruition and how nasty it can become.
I was thinking these people need a reality show.
Yeah, right.
As many train wrecks there are on TV right now to be perfect. We'll close with this. It's a Thanksgiving movie. The entire family's going to go. What is on your holiday wish list? We'll start with you.
No, you start because I have no idea. Let me think about it.
Big box office results for Knives Out. How about
Yeah,
that?
I think I'll
And a
steal
better
that one
back-end
too.
contract. But that's too
Knives
late.
Out too.
Yeah, there you go.
What's up?
Dude, I just want to say congrats.
Thanks. I appreciate
People
it,
told
man.
me in Toronto,
Yeah.
because of my dry sense of humor, my sarcastic outlook on life, they were like, Dave, this movie was made for you. Dude.
I did. I wrote your name at the top. And I said, okay, here we go. What is Dave gonna like? What's he gonna like?
Ryan, it's just so good.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna have to see it again though,
Yeah.
because of the twist and the turns.
I love it.
My first question for you today is, where did this come from? Like, are these based on true events? Should we take you to therapy right now?
I went through all of this and realized this is basically a documentary. No.
Please don't say that.
No, it's
Give
not.
you a hug.
No, I know. No, I grew up reading Agatha Christie. That's where this whole thing stems from. And I've always wanted to do a whodunit, and the idea of what would a whodunit look like set in 2019 in America, because you see them most of the time. They're period pieces. That was the big intriguing thing. But I also, I grew up in a big family. My family is nothing like this family. They're lovely, and I love my family. But growing up with family politics and all of the family dramas and everything, I think anyone who's got a big family, you'll recognize stuff in this movie.
Well, that's why it's perfect for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I asked Jamie Lee Curtis about her advice for getting through the holidays, getting through Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
She looked at me, she said, simple, take them to Knives Out.
Exactly. When you get sick of arguing with your family.
But it brings out the discussion.
Yeah, but it's in hopefully go and see a family that's worse than your own, having a dumber argument than you just had, and have a laugh about it. That's the whole thing.
As a director and as a writer, and you're putting this together, when you start getting a cast like this is an ensemble.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a greatest hits. There's so much talent.
Yeah.
That's just got to make you thrilled.
It makes my job so easy. I mean, you show up on set and you have just a murderer's row of actors like these. It also, I mean, I when I was making this movie, I was thinking about the Agatha Christie movies I grew up watching as a kid, like Death on the Nile and Evil Under the Sun. And one of the things those movies always had was all-star casts. It was a big show, all-star. Everyone who showed up on screen, you're like, oh, it's David Niven. Oh, it's James Mason. Oh, it's Bette Davis. And so the idea of doing that with this movie and stacking the cast, that seemed like that would be really, really fun.
My favorite books, I don't read as much as I should now.
Yeah.
I need to do more of that. But when growing up, we're always the Hardy Boys.
Oh, those are
and
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the twists too.
Yeah.
By the time you got to the end,
Yeah.
it was always, just wild.
Yeah.
So I thought of that, and I also thought it's a big giant game of Clue.
That's kind of what it is. We even call the mansion like a clue board at some point. It taps into that. And I think, that's a fun thing, is everybody, I think, has a history with the whodunit genre. Everyone has some touch point, connection point for it. So that's kind of nice when you sit down in a movie to say, it's like sinking into a comfortable chair. Like, this is a type of movie I really like. And then hopefully we throw a few curveballs your way. But that's part of the fun of the genre too,
You threw more than a few, my friend. Tell me about the day that you wrapped, though.
Yeah.
Like when it's all said and done, again, no spoilers, no
Yeah,
plot points,
yeah.
but when you wrapped, describe that day to me.
Well, I mean, it's funny because the final day when you wrap, the final shot you get, inevitably, it's not like some big keystone shot. Inevitably, you're doing a shot of a coffee cup or something like that. You're like, oh, we never got the shot of the guy taking the keys out of his pocket. It's usually something undramatic like that. Our final shot was a shot of Noah Segan, actually, who plays Trooper Wagner in the movie, reacting to this whole scene that just happened. And it felt nice to have the final shot be Noah.
Awesome. I think of like a Broadway production, everybody taking the bow,
Yeah.
but you described it as a coffee cup. That makes actually more sense. The reshoots. Great talking to you. It was always my
Awesome,
friend.
Dave.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it,
Seriously.
man.